Hi, I'm Lucy Poole. I'm a master gardener in Dakota County, and this year we're growing Bok Choy, and I have the pleasure of trying to learn how to cook with it because I've never done that before.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lucy.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Vida, and I'm also a master gardener, but I'm an intern this year at Dakota County. And then when I found out that Bok Choy was on our trial garden, I was like super ecstatic. I was telling my mentor I really wanted to experiment on this Bok Choy trial garden. She's like, it's a lot of work. Do not do it, Vida. I'm like, yeah, you are right. You are right. So then she's like, but you should meet Janice and this group of ladies who does a trial garden. You just help. So when Janice and Lucy was mentioning about tasting bok choy, I was like, oh my gosh, it's one of my favorite vegetables. I grew up with this. I use it in so many of my cooking. I literally have a supply of it in my refrigerator most weeks when I'm home because it's very, very versatile. So today we actually chopped up some bok choy from the garden because what happened was our garden bok choy actually got a little bigger than what we wanted. But that doesn't mean you can't eat it, okay? It just means you have to prepare it differently. The reason is most people love the more baby bok choy, as they can see a baby bok choy, right? They are just super easy to put in your mouth. They are crunchables. You don't have to chew that much. They're just still very tender, but they still have all the nutrition, I hope. So you might have to tell me about the nutrition, Lucy.
I will.
Because all I know is that they're delicious. I eat them growing up and I don't know, right? But as they get older, they get more fibrous. So you can see how this is more fibrous already. And a lot of times it's really hard to chew fiber. Yeah. So we actually slice them up into more smaller pieces across the fibrous side so that you can chew that as well. So what are the nutrition for bok choy?
Well, bok choy has tons of vitamins. It's one of our vegetables that has more vitamins than just about anything.
Are you serious?
No, it has A, C, and K.
Okay.
And K is a hard vitamin to get in vegetables. I mean, it's a hard one to kind of just get out there. Mm-hmm. So it's great that it's in there. It also has almost all the B's. It has 1, 2, 3, and 6. B1, 2, 3.
Oh,
and
wow.
6. So that is really good. It also is, as you know, high in fiber. Mm-hmm. And fiber is good for every diet. So it has hardly any carbohydrates, meaning not much sugar.
Wow.
Which is really good for you. Mm-hmm. So it's just a great vegetable to figure out how to use and eat.
So today we're gonna use some bok choy from our garden as well as some that I purchased at the store because usually what I cook with is baby bok choy. So we're gonna use the garden ones. The garden one, I actually started chopping these into slices because I was trying to get away with the fiber, right? And we're gonna do a quick hot stir fry on these. Okay. And then for the baby one, we're gonna do a quick blanch on these. Okay. And then for the blanching, I'm gonna put this one. For the blanching, after blanching, we will be seasoning it with oyster sauce and sesame oil. Okay. So very, very simple. And then we can garnish it on top with some cilantro and green onion. I also do a little dash of oil. And the reason I do a little dash of oil in the water is because it will just create that gleam for the choy. So when it comes out,
Make it look prettier.
So the water is boiling, and what I'm gonna do is see how it's boiling. I'm just gonna put some of my bok choy that I chopped earlier in here. Right? And the thing about bok choy is that it likes to float, so we're gonna make sure it goes down a little bit, okay, so that it kind of cooks. Another tip is do not put a cover over it. So any of the green vegetable, you put a cover over it. Another myth, but I'm not sure if it's a myth or a fact, but when I do put a cover over it, it turns yellow, and that's never delicious. And literally, that is pretty much a good blanch. Right? It kind of cooks a little bit. You can see that the leaf is kind of falling apart. It's kind of softer now than before. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna move over here and drain that. So put this right here. And I tend to like to stop the cooking process with some cold water. because otherwise it'll continue to cook. And then I really don't want that. I really want to kind of for it to stop cooking. Otherwise, it gets.
Does it stay more crunchy?
It stays a little bit more crunchy and it doesn't get too soft and soft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See how soft and just eat it as a whole.
It's good.
It's good. Do you want to try some too, Janice?
Sure.
This is without flavor. This is a natural
It's
flavor.
kind of like a cabbage.
Yes, it is.
Mild.
Yes. What did you guys do? I mean, now here is what you guys did for your taste testing. This, and then what I did right here, I'm going to do some really quick sesame oil, right? And then I'm just going to spin it a little bit so I kind of get that sesame oil there. Put some oyster sauce. Now that you tasted the non-flavored, I want you to taste it when there's a little bit of sesame oil and a little bit of oyster sauce.
It's really good.
Really good?
It is really good.
Okay.
It would be so good for you to eat that whole plate.
Yeah. And that's what I do sometimes. That's why I cannot have, like if I have bok choy in my home, that was so simple, right? It was less than 5 minutes, right? Potentially to finish cooking everything. You have a good, healthy dish.
So there's 9 calories in a cup of bok choy that has been cut up and diced.
Okay.
So 9 calories, hardly anything. I think.
Tons of fiber and vitamins.
Yeah,
right?
tons of fiber, tons of vitamins. There's 1 gram of protein, I think, 1 carbohydrate. I mean, it's just good for you.
For our stir fry, you see what we're gonna do is I'm gonna stir fry with high heat. We're first gonna use some garlic to kind of get the high heat, get into a nice burn, and then we're gonna put some salt and pepper that I put out here, and then maybe we'll put some more sriracha. But I also love a good crunch from this chili crunch as well. So we're gonna have chili crunch, garlic, and either a soy sauce or a salt to kind of stir fry that. And then we won't be garnishing anything with that. It'll just be a really good stir fry.
Okay.
Out with a pan that was pretty empty, okay? And then I had to turn it on to high heat. And I was putting my hand close to it to kind of see the heat radiating. Because I'm like, I don't want to put oil and garlic in when the heat is not high. Once the pan is pretty hot and I can feel it, I put that oil in, right? And you saw me putting it around the pan as the oil kind of pulls in to kind of coat that pan. And then I put the garlic in, and you can see it right away. It was simmering. It was like starting to burn, but you gotta watch it very closely. You do not leave that pan by itself with the garlic. As it gets to golden brown, right? And then I instantly put all the veggies that was already chopped and ready to go into that pan. And then I started stir frying from the bottom up, because at that time I did not want any of my garlic to burn, right? I want to pull down, get all the garlic from the bottom that was on the top and put it on top, and move the bok choy that was starting to cook down to the bottom so it can have that temperature to cook. So the benefit of a wok is that you can use the whole entire surface area to cook that bok choy. And as it was getting a little bit more soft, right, I started to season it with a little bit of Momofuku's chili crunch to get that crunch, and then some salt to add some salt to flavor. In the pan, I'm just gonna put the kind of dish right into right here. And likewise, we normally eat this with rice or something, so you're not eating this plain, so that we have something on top to kind of tell the palate. Okay, here we go, everyone. Let's taste some sample of this. If it needs more salt, let me know. If it needs anything else, if it's too spicy, I am sorry.
I like it spicy.
Okay.
So I'll be good.
I have a little plate too. I don't know why I haven't.
It's really good.
It's really good.
It's really good.
But you see how the flavor is very different, right?
Well, you kept saying crunchy, and I thought, how can it be crunchy? But there is something crunchy in there now. It must be the Momofuku.
Yeah, the
stuff.
chili crunch.
Oh, so it makes it kind of crunchy. And spicy, but not so hot that you can't eat it. It tastes really good.
And the thing is, you can see how the leafy part of the bok choy, right, is very soft, right, but not too mushy because we watched that pan. And if you like it more crunchy, you don't have to cook it that long. It's up to your preference. But then the stem part was not the stem. What's that called? The white
stalk.
The stalk part,
Yeah.
it still has that crunch and that texture, so that you can still see that crunch as you're eating it. Okay, lastly, I'm also gonna make a simple soup because I love bok choy in soup. So what I did was I did some tofu. This is just soft tofu. I did some fried tofu prep, and then we're also gonna use some of this for garnish in the soup. I also did some daikon as well as lotus roots. So this is just different varieties in the soup for the broth. And the base, I'm just gonna use a simple chicken bouillon type broth. Okay. And then of course, everything is seasoned to flavor. So I like to use a lot of sriracha for anything that I want to add some spice to it. This will have the spices own, so we'll be careful. But sometimes I add sriracha to this or sriracha to this. I don't really add sriracha to this, but sometimes you just want some spice, and that's what you need to do. So a lot of times, bok choy is used as a garnish for a lot of our other dishes, as a veggie next to other things, right? So you might see bok choy next to a dish, and it's like a garnish. Instead of broccoli or parsley, they have bok choy. But you still eat it, okay? You eat your garnishes. We do not waste our garnishes. Yeah, I want to make a basic broth that has a lot of like veggies in it, so that it can bring a lot of like fibers and vitamins and everything, but not too heavy. I have 2 pots going on right now, and the reason is I'm gonna do some egg noodles. So this is egg noodles. These are fresh egg noodles I bought from the store. I kind of make them a little loose, and I'm waiting for this to boil into hot. Once it's boiling and rolling, I'll put that right into that water.
So were the noodles frozen? Or
No,
were
they are fresh noodles. So you can kind of feel it. So these are fresh egg noodles. So egg noodles are literally egg and some wheat flour inside. As this is boiling, I'm gonna put this in, and as it's loose, I'm just gonna put it all in here. And I'm gonna grab a little item to kind of move things around. So I want them to kind of stir, right? I'm just really stirring it to make sure it doesn't clump together, okay? And this is just gonna be a base of what we are going to be doing with our dish today. And once it starts bubbling, right? You see it starts a little bubbling. Once it's going back to a rolling bubble, I'm gonna take it out, strain it, and run cold water through it. Okay, please. So it's starting to roll. I'm just stirring so it doesn't clump up. And most egg noodles, they have the fresh one. They have lye or something to hold the shape and the tenderness of that noodle. So what I normally do is to gyoza, we normally strain it, right? And put some cold water over it. Cold water that was strained. So I'm just trying to stop the cooking so you still have this little crunchiness to the noodles, right? An al dente, so pasta is just an egg noodle. Okay. And to keep it from sticking together, I normally put a little bit of, sesame oil, just so that it's kind of just, it doesn't stick together as I use it later. Okay. But that's the noodle prep for this. On the side. Now we're going to go to the soup. So the soup has been slowly boiling because it's on the back. It's a small burner. I'm going to move it to the bigger burner and get it onto the high. So soup starts with water, and there's not a lot of tendency to the garlic that we did earlier. Like I'm just boiling the water, and things that need a little longer to cook, I normally like to put it in first. Okay. So for example, my beef meatballs, right? These are just frozen beef meatballs I bought at the store. I wanted some meatballs to have something to eat that is a little more protein oriented. I do know, Lucy, you did mention that tofu has protein, but it's just not as much for me. It's a different type of protein.
Yeah,
right? So I got some beef meatball just to have that. And it's frozen, so it's gonna take a little while to kind of soften. Another thing that I also like to put in is actually daikon. So daikon is another great veggie. It's a root vegetable that I use pretty much in them. So funny thing is, so in Chinese these are called bak bak, and you guys know bok choy is white leafy green.
Yep.
So bak bak is white carrot.
Oh. Okay.
Yep, white carrot.
Does it taste like carrot?
No, it's very bland. There's no sweetness to it. So I'm just putting, and then I also have some lotus roots. They take a little longer to have a good crunch to it. I just love eating stuff with crunch, right? Love different textures around in my mouth. So I'm just putting all these veggies in. Probably not way too much water, it's okay. And then I'm also gonna put some chicken bouillon, also to taste of how much flavoring you like, right? Because some people like a very salty soup, some people do not like chicken as their base, some people like to use the miso that I had earlier as their base. So definitely anything that you want to flavor. So I'm just putting some chicken bouillon in to kind of add some flavor to that. Okay. And then I tend to like to put the tofu in a little later because they are very soft. They do actually do pretty well. So I'm just gonna let this boil a little bit, and then we'll put bok choy at the end because bok choy cooks a lot faster than all the things that we have right now. Like this is a quick soup, so this is a soup of whatever you want to make it, right? It's something that's just simple, easy to eat, easy to make, and putting some ginger in because I love ginger. I'm also putting some onions in because I realize it's a little bland without onions. So I like to freeze my onions when I chop them because I actually sometimes buy a Costco amount and then I can't get it all done. So then I chop them and dice them. And then so when I'm ready to put some onions in anything, I just kind of
can grab them.
Yeah, you just grab them. As you can see, as I was putting in the frozen things, the water stops boiling.
It's temps.
I'm actually going to put some tofu in. So tofu you don't have to really worry because they will kind of keep its shape throughout the whole entire soup. So this tofu will keep its shape from today, put it in your refrigerator, tomorrow it will still keep its shape pretty well. So I'm just going to put that in. And then I'm also going to put some fried tofu in. And this is my own preference. I love this. I love being able to pop flavor from something. So the tofu will absorb the soup, and then when you eat the tofu, it kind of have that little mini soup benefits to it. So I'm gonna put those in too. Now I'm gonna wait for it to do another rolling broil, and then I'm gonna crack some eggs to kind of unmix. Do this. And I just have a joy with eggs. I don't know why, but I just love a good solid egg when I'm eating it, and you kind of have this rich in fat, and egg has fat, and what else does eggs have?
It has protein.
It has lots of proteins too. Yeah, so I'm just cracking eggs. It kind of creates a little different texture to the soup, so it's not so boring.
Not look easy. This looks really hard.
Well, it looks hard, but remember, all I really did, Lucy, was I had water, I had some bouillon, and I put in ingredients that I love, right? I love tofu, I love veggies, I love daikon, I love lotus roots. But if I don't love any of that, and they say I just want broccoli, fair enough. Just put some broccoli in. Now, the only thing I want to caution is make sure you know your ingredients. Because what happens if you put something in too early and something takes a little longer, you might have something that is a little bit more soggy.
Right.
You don't want that.
Overdone.
So now I just kind of lower the heat. I think the eggs are looking pretty good. I cracked inside because I love eggs, right? So you can see the eggs right here. See how it's like a little mini poached egg, right? And then when we eat it, we can crack it when we open it. It's probably fully broiled, hard boiled by then. But you can see how the daikon is starting to see through.
Yeah.
Because we put it in first. It takes a little while to cook that daikon. Our frozen meatballs are no longer frozen. Yes, because we put them in first, right? So now the soup is getting to this base. I'm gonna put in the bok choy, the older bok choy that we chopped. Because this way it's gonna create some more color to this very not green soup. And I love green. I love my vitamins. If there's no green that day, something is wrong. I love my fiber. So I'm just gonna put this in, and you know it's gonna start kind of adding that green in, right? I'm just gonna put
It's
it in.
pretty.
It's getting that color that we wanted, right? Not just soup, but the soup overall. Some baby bok choy because we're gonna be using some of these as garnishes for the soup. And now that we're almost on the soup, I'm gonna put some baby bok choy here on the edges.
While we're watching this cook, I will just give you a few tips on growing bok choy. We're growing it in our garden right now, and the one thing we determined is we're letting it grow too long because it got too big. But it's liking Minnesota. It's liking this climate. Bok choy is an annual, it's not a perennial, so you have to directly seed it into the ground every time you sow it. It's a springtime vegetable, so it's a cooler crop. It can go in earlier. But the one thing that happens with it, which is kind of interesting, is if it gets too cold, the cold for it is it either freezes or it's 50 degrees or cooler for more than 7 days in a row, bok choy will bolt, and then it won't taste very good. So you really have to be careful to get it in the ground after the ground's thawed, but and it likes it cool, but if it's too cool, it's not going to work out for you. So you have to watch it. The plants can grow 1 to 2 feet tall, and usually you spread them 1 to 1.5 feet apart just because they can get so big and leafy. They're very pretty. When they bolt, they flower. That's not anything you want to eat, but it's still very pretty. You should pick it when they look like this. Mini bok choy. And we let ours get bigger. They were probably that big or so. And then the green leaf on top. And they're more tender. And they just taste, we think they taste better.
I remember earlier where we had chopped up a lot of cilantro and green onions. It is a garnish that we do a lot in some of my cooking. So I'm gonna put some egg noodles that we made earlier, with some garnish on top, right? And then I'm gonna add some items that I really want for this, right? I want that tofu for everyone to try. I want that meatball for everyone to try. Oh yeah, that baby bok choy that I put in last. Actually, I need to stop this before it gets over soggy. Maybe some green bok choy on the side for you all. And then I'm gonna use this the ladle to find that daikon, that egg, that tofu, and then a lotus root. So of course, if you love lotus root, have as many as you want. If you love daikon, great. If you don't like daikon, don't put it in the soup. It is your soup, okay? And then I'm gonna put some of that broth in as well. Okay, so each one of these, I'm just gonna put a little bit of that. Okay, so like how I garnished yours, Lucy, I'm gonna put a little bit of sesame oil on here, just on my egg. And then I'm gonna put some peppers. I love a good pepper, cracked pepper.
Oh, so
and then I'm gonna enjoy this little noodle. So the egg should be fully cooked, but the difference between this poached is very, very soft, and then it's really fun to bite
Look
into.
at that.
And then the lotus roots, it has that crunch. I just love a good cookie. A lotus root cookie, not an American cookie. Has that crunch. And then my little beef meatball here. And I bought the one that has little tendons in it. So like when you're biting into it, you might hit a tendon. Yeah. But it just gives a little texture and a little bit of additional protein on top of the tofu that we have already. If you're vegan or vegetarian, definitely you don't have to add the beef meatball. And it's a soup for you, right? It's a soup for you. And then underneath it, I have that egg noodle. I love a good solid egg noodle. So you'll see me eating egg noodles or any type of noodles with some soup because it just ties everything together. It's very homey feel. And be careful when you bite into the fried tofu because it absorbs the soup, so it can burst out if you're not careful, okay? What do you think so far, Lucy?
I think it's so good. I like the cookie.
The lotus cookie, the lotus root, slices of lotus root. So, do we grow lotus roots in Minnesota? Do you know that?
I don't think so.
But they are in mud fields, pretty much, and they're just I remember lotus flowers are so beautiful, and then underneath the lotus flower, there are these like tubular roots. And what
Is that what this is?
The tubular roots of the lotus flower. And I've done a lot of research because I really wanted to grow it. I don't think I could. But the water will filter through these little holes and stuff in the lotus roots. And then that's how the nutrients are gathered from the lotus flower. But they are very crunchy. And usually it takes a long time to soften. So I bought the already blanched or poached lotus roots, and still, with all that cooking, it's still a good crunch to it.
Oh, so easy to make, and it tastes so good.
Yeah, it's simple things, right? Simple things, Lucy.
Right.
I never learned to officially cook in my life. I just literally intuitively cooked throughout growing up, and I make things that I enjoy eating. So you will not see me making things that I don't enjoy. Is this a traditional soup that you can get at a recipe book somewhere? Probably not, but it is something to encourage you all that a simple base broth and put the ingredients that you like, right? Whatever you do is just a soup that makes sense for you, that kind of warms your heart. Follow some of these recipes and find something that you actually like to cook with and grow something where you can actually cook with, because the best thing you can do is start a garden, but then use your vegetables or donate them to other food shelves that they can also use your vegetable, because through cooking and through different vegetables, you can learn so much about a culture and what they do with it. So hope you guys enjoy. See you next time.